Let's talk about death and how it's used as a catalyst to instill fear programming into human existence. It's not really the threat of death that has turned civilizations into docile regimes that are easily controllable by a small few, but the fear and the notion that death is the end of life that has turned many men and women into programmable bots governed by a biological code that isn't actually real. When we look at the story of Christ and the resurrection, whether we see the story as truth or as fiction, we can easily recognize the most powerful message this story has brought to humanity, and that simply is that death is not the end. Almost every issue humanity has been plagued with revolves around the notion that death is equal to the obliteration of the soul. Western society has lost its connection to spirit, and through this loss, we see the birth of primal reaction, where fear runs the course of human consciousness instead of love. It's no coincidence that Western society, which is often persuaded by monetary sponsorship over ultimate truth, is also founded on atheism. Scientists who claim that science should be unbiased are often found intermingling their beliefs in atheism with unfounded theories on death. The inability to ascertain that the brain is a transmission device, a receiver of the soul, which is something that many different tribes and communities of the past already knew, displays the reductionistic tunnel vision that mainstream science operates through. The acceleration of worldwide authoritarianism has only been permitted through the worship of false science that obscures the word fact into that of doublespeak. And as the past few years have shown us, many scientists are not scientists but religious fanatics, aiming to worship and follow whatever scientific trend the priest or priestess of science is touting at the moment. We can see this trend very blatantly displayed through the worship of Fauci, a doctor turned scientific solicitor who once claimed to be the embodiment of science himself. Modern science has simply become a tool to instill fear into the human psyche. What's ironic, though, is that modern religion has been distorted to do the same. Compare atheism, a belief that has spread into mainstream science, with the concept of dying and going to hell. The two theories are highly similar. They both use death as a mechanism to instill fear into the human psyche, creating a mental weapon of control over human ambition. Though the Bible does contain a resurrection story, a deeper method of control was necessary to keep humans in alignment with authority. Sure, according to the Bible, you live beyond death, but you'll most likely end up in a realm of infinite suffering that makes even the most powerful of men beg to be destroyed. These stories of death being a void of nothingness or a catastrophic gateway to suffering, they're merely just stories implanted in the mind to enslave the mind. To reclaim love, sovereignty, and freedom, one must reclaim their relationship with their own spirit. The scientists and priests can speak from the gospels of fear programming all they want, but in the end, it is always you who has control over your own domain of consciousness. It's you who gets to decide what you know and ultimately remember on a soul level. It is you who is responsible and in control of the programming of your own mind. I say this to inspire you, because no matter what horrible, crazy situation you've been through, and we know you've been through some stuff, at least I have, I'm sure you have too, you always get to come back to your own domain of consciousness and decide what is allowed inside of it and what is not allowed to fester and grow within it. All else is just noise, attempts at thwarting your own divine connection to spirit. And whatever that may be, it can never infiltrate the mind to such a degree that it doesn't contain the autonomous will to simply change the perception it carries. Oh, the sun's going down. I need to finish this video. In conclusion, is death the end? Well, that's always up for you to decide. Me telling you that death isn't the end isn't going to change your life. You have to come to that conclusion by remembering your own soul. I see death as an end and as a beginning, a rebirth into other realms. The concept of death, for me, feels like an extraordinary adventure. And so I am not threatened by the idea of death, but by the concept of not seizing life. You possess the freedom to believe whatever aligns with your soul, but in the end of this life, to know that you've been the master of your own perception, the purveyor of your own consciousness, is the ultimate sign of self-mastery and human liberation. In this moment, I celebrate with you the magnitude of human perception through one's decision to embrace life or remain owned by a concept of death. The reality is forever and always yours to decide. Love you. Bye. Oh, also, if you want to subscribe, you can. Whatever.